sign in.
I think I married your sister.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'll call our meeting to order, and I will begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki in the district of Sipekne'katik, the ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. East Hants further acknowledges the 50 African Nova Scotian communities whose 400-year history have contributed to the province's culture, history, and legacies. We are all treaty people. We will now have a moment of silent contemplation. The next item would be to set the date and time for the next council meetings, with the regular meeting of council for policy and in camera being June the 16th, 2026, and the regular meeting of council June the 24th, 2026. Next is the approval of or amendments to the agenda. Does anyone have any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, I will declare the agenda approved. Next is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of council for policy and in camera April the 14th, 2026, and the regular meeting of council April 22nd, 2026. Are there any changes to the minutes? Seeing none, I declare the minutes approved. We'll now move to correspondence for information. Councilors, you see the correspondence in front of you. Okay. Councillor Hebb.
Thank you, Warden. I would like to bring your attention to article number 71. Letter from the Solid Waste Resource Committee to Tim Hellman, Minister of Environment and Climate Change, in regards to tires that are not accepted at landfills or any other place, and that's loader tires, great big truck tires, ATV tires, and whatnot. And all the regions in Nova Scotia feel that the government should be looking at this and to have something done about that. So I'd like to make a motion that council endorse this on behalf to send a letter to the appropriate minister and with our support.
Seconded by Councillor Perry. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councillor Mitchell, are you to the motion or? No. Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion is passed unanimously. Next up, Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Ward. I just want to look at item number 15 to acknowledge the thank you from John Grant for the excellent volunteer awards night and praising staff for their efforts. Also, number 55, another thank you to the East Hants Historical Society for the poster of the night of 1880 Municipal Council. I read through it. Very interesting of some of the names that were there. And item 14 is the letter from Municipal Affairs about the changes. I just want to make sure that council be kept abreast of any changes that going forward. Thank you. That's all.
Councillor Hebb.
Thank you, Warden. I'll also bring your attention to 70. It's to deal with the sharps disposals. And right now, there is no avenue for people to dispose of sharps. And there's no regulations put in place, so there's a lot of sharps are being put in the garbage and pop bottles and other things like now. And dispensaries don't always take them because they don't have a place to get rid of them. So I would like to make a motion that council endorse this request for, to go through to the appropriate location to endorse the letter.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Merriam. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion is passed unanimously. Are there any other items on correspondence for information that any councillor wants to draw attention to this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to correspondence for decision. Okay, item 72, a letter from Cesar Sala, Professor of Engineering for WM Fairs Architects, requesting that Plan 25-013 Dory Lane, Enfield be permitted to move ahead to a public hearing, contrary to the PAC recommendation going forward to the council meeting on May 27th, 2026, but in keeping with the staff recommendation. Councillor Garden Cole.
Thank you, Madam Warden. So this is concerning to me because I just feel like the precedent that it would set by people sending letters because we've made a decision and because they aren't happy with it, that they want us to move forward with something when we've already made a decision on it. They talk about in this, if you can just scroll up a little bit further, the person who wrote, scroll down, who wrote the letter talks about how they were under the impression that, you know, they had met what we were looking for, smaller, less density and whatnot, and it was, they kind of felt like it should have been moving forward, and it didn't. But what they're not taking into account in this letter is that we found out that the exit and the traffic is going to be going in a way that we didn't realize at the time when we were talking about what they're talking about there, when we approved that. So we found out that the traffic is going to be going through Alderney, which it will be, that's guaranteed, if they want to go left. It's going to be right in, going to be right out. That is new information to us, and that was impactful when we were making this decision about whether it should be more density or not. I'm not sure if they didn't realize that or if they didn't see that as being a impacting factor on our decision. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That is that for me anyway, and judging from the discussion we had last week, that was a big reason why we decided not to give the added approval to the added density, because there's already going to be enough traffic impacting Alderney Drive because of the traffic arrangement that the Transportation Department is insisting on. Thank you.
And just for clarity, that discussion was at committee, and it was a planning advisory committee made the decision to recommend to council not to proceed. All right, anyone else? Okay, John.
Thank you, Warden. I guess I just want to make a couple of comments. I agree with the letter writer, I guess, that I think there should always be a bias towards completing the process, concluding with a public hearing. And yes, there were concerns raised at PAC, and that's what PAC is for, to sort of hear all the issues. But then there's no opportunity for, if you don't proceed a public hearing, then there's no opportunity for the applicant to try and address those concerns or offer a professional opinion. In this case, would be a traffic engineer. And I guess I'd also remind council, a number of years ago, you had us change the way the motion reads so that it usually says, to give first reading for the purpose of enabling a public hearing and authorize a public hearing. And at the time, we didn't used to say that. And, you know, there were some councillors who made the point that, well, I'm okay proceeding to public hearing, but I don't want people to think that I'm actually, at this point, supporting the application. All I'm doing is, moving the process along. So just, those are my comments. Thank you.
Counselor Perry.
Thank you, Warden. No, the director took some of the words right out of my mouth. Like, there's a process that we ask the public to engage in, and there's a criteria that we do. The initial time that this came forward, it was a high-density ask, and it was not looked at being supported. They did lower the density. They did, I believe, take into consideration what was said and try to remedy the situation as best as they could. And I do think that not allowing it to follow the process is no different than when we ask the province to do something and it gets cut short without going through the process. So I think that if we have a process for things to go that allows the public and the proponent to have a bit of information exchange between each other, as well as with us through the staff report that comes back from the public information meeting, that I believe that that is something that is a step that we should look at as being, we do it more often than not. Because if this is the message you're gonna send, I don't like the direction. Thank you.
Counselor Rhino.
Well, thank you, Madam Warden, through you to everyone. While I hear what the director's saying, and I respect his opinion, I don't agree with it. That we have a planning advisory committee that went over all the facts as they were presented. We weighed them, and if PAC felt there was no need to go forward with that, that was the motion that was made, and that's what happens. If somebody doesn't like a decision that is made and they come in right before council, I don't agree with this, and now we're voting on or looking at changing that, I really don't think that's the proper process. The PAC has a process, we went through it, and there was a recommendation not to go through with it. So I stick up for PAC. This is what why do we have a PAC if we always automatically have to go right through to a hearing? So anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor McPhee.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Well, I must say, after we made this decision at executive, I did think afterwards, did we get this right, or did I feel comfortable with the way I voted? And I thought, well, not really, because we have all the traffic issues and I understand them. We discussed them well. But we did ask the company to make changes to come back to us, which they did. And, we didn't promise them a hearing, I understand that. It's up to PAC. But I kind of felt due process should have been followed, where you go through to a public hearing. Then when I read their letter, I believe it was Monday that got the email, I kind of thought, well, that's kind of in line with what I'm thinking. And I read it again this morning, and I come to the conclusion due process is important to follow. They've done what we asked. They brought back reworked their proposal, and we should let it go to a public hearing. I'd like to hear what the people have to say, what the contractor or the developer has to say, and then we can make a decision. I think that's the proper time to make the decision, not just to cut off the development, all the effort that's been put into it by the developer. We should hear them. I think it's only fair to give them a chance. Now, I had written out a motion for that. My computer just decided to update, so I don't have it right now. So, I don't know, maybe if I could wait until we're at PAC, I could make that motion then.
We
What
do
do
have
you-
other people waiting to
Okay.
speak on this as well, so maybe your computer will.
It is 35% there, it says. Yes, thanks.
Counselor Tingley.
Through the chair, I guess this is going to come up a little later in the meeting tonight, but we're talking about due process. I understood the due process is when we get to this point, we can either vote to go forward or vote not to go forward. So I don't see what the argument is that we're doing something that's not due process. You know, the MGA says that council can do things that they think should be done for people. Normally, I'm in favor of mostly going to a public meeting. In this case, I voted against it because I was not aware of the situation with only a right in and a right out. And I've heard so much negativity about the traffic in Enfield, and I think something should be sorted out with the traffic down there. There's places they're looking for lights, and they're looking for other things to help them with the traffic. And I just feel wrong to vote to move this forward when all I'm hearing is they don't want this. You know, maybe we're going to hear there's going to be a bunch of people come out of the woodwork and say, yeah, they like this idea of having only a right turn, a right in and right out. But, you know, I was at a public meeting last night and I'm not hearing anybody that's for it. So I don't feel comfortable voting for it. And I don't think we're not following a due process by not going forward with it. That's it.
Counselor Perry.
Thank you, Warden. And Councillor Tingley brought up the exact reason why I think PAC erred is because the conversation was about this right in and right out, but that wasn't the application. The application was to rezone properties. The right in and right out is a totally separate issue that's already been approved and already going with the development that's been approved and happening. And the right in and right out is done by the province and Department of Transportation. And this was the question PAC had was about rezoning those properties. And the right in and right out really should not have as much of a bearing. It dominated all of the conversation. And we didn't even get to the point because after it goes to a public information hearing, that's when staff reaches out for more information from Public Works and everything else. So that issue should have been brought up, and it was, but it should have been the determined issue whether to go forward, because now staff has no direction to go out and get more information about the right in and right out, because it isn't moving to a public information meeting
Public hearing.
or public hearing. So I really think that putting the cart before the horse in that case is that we were not focused on the actual application, that it was focused on something that had nothing to do with the application. Thank you.
Counselor Garden Cole.
Thank you, Madam Warden. For anyone who was at the meeting last night, the big topics that I was hearing and what most of us were hearing were development and traffic in the Enfield areas. And regardless of whether we were the ones who made the decision about the right in and the right out, the fact is that Public Works has decided that, and that is how it is going to be. And yes, that is, you cannot not consider that when making this decision, because the decision to go forward with this would mean that it would be creating more density than what is already there. The residents who are living along there are already up in arms about what's going on in their backyard, and most of them are unaware of the right in, right out, and how this is going to impact the Alderney Drive residents as well as the Dory Lane. So to say that it has nothing to do with it it does. It absolutely does. And we would be negligent to not be considering the right in and the right out when deciding on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Warden, would you take the chair for a moment, please? I have a question.
Go ahead.
To the director, if this were to go on to public hearing, would any decision that council made at that time be appealable to the Utility and Review Board?
Through you, no, because it involves an MPS amendment, there's no appeal possible.
Okay, thank you. And I would just, while I have the floor, I would just like to address the discussion around whether we followed due process or not. And I would find myself agreeing with Councillor Tingley and Councillor Rhino. We absolutely followed due process. That's why we have a planning advisory committee. It is not a given that every application that comes before PAC will be recommended to proceed on to a public hearing. That's not how it works. That's the job of PAC to determine if Planning Advisory Committee feels that it should, for whatever reason, go on to public hearing or not go on to public hearing. So I just wanted to reiterate here that due process was certainly followed in this case. There was nothing untoward done. Due process was followed. And further to this, this will come up under PAC, I believe. Is that correct, John? There is no motion coming forward, but it will be in the PAC report. So I will leave it at that. Thank you, Deputy Warden.
Okay, passing the chair back to the warden, please.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Oh, there is no motion. So there is no motion at this time regarding this correspondence, is that correct? There will be opportunity at PAC. All right, let's move on to the next correspondence. Council is asked to formally appoint the traffic authorities for the municipality. CAO.
Thank you, Warden. The report is fairly self-explanatory. We have direction from council that the chief administrative officer can appoint the traffic authority, which was done when our director of infrastructure and operations was hired. We have sought legal opinion and think that it's cleaner if you, as council, per the MGA, appoint your traffic authority. So the motion is on the screen. That would accomplish that.
Okay. Councillor Mitchell.
I move that council appoints Jesse Holzman, Director of Infrastructure and Operations, as the traffic authority for the municipality of East Hants, and Matt Mahoney, Manager of Roads and Engineering, as the Deputy Traffic Authority of the municipality of East Hants. I so move.
Seconded by Councillor Merriam. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion is passed unanimously. Next, we have a letter and invoice from the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities regarding the 2026-27 NSFM membership dues. And we'll go to the CAO.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Typically, any expenses in your budget, if they're budgeted for, don't come back to you, but as a standard practice, we've been bringing the NSFM dues invoice to council for approval. So that's why it's on your agenda this evening.
Is there an increase in this amount for us due to the
No,
uniform assessment?
no.
Okay. Councillor Tingley.
Chair, I'll move to pay the NSFM invoice as presented.
Second it.
Seconded by the Deputy Warden. Councillor Rhino.
Thank you, Madam Warden. It's been, every time these dues come up, sometimes there's mighty discussion around, are we getting the bang for the buck? And I'm just, sometimes, the warden, you speak about it yourself. I'm just wondering if there's any revelations about, or any animosity about paying the dues this time, or any concerns, I guess is a better word to put it, about paying the dues this time.
I think there is always, and I think it's healthy to have discussion around and consideration as to whether NSFM serves the needs of the municipality well. There are times indeed that we may question that from time to time, but at this particular time, they do continue to represent the municipalities of this province. There are no, shall I say, major irritants, I don't believe, between East Hants and NSFM at this moment. That could change at any time, and we are sometimes successful in changing things at NSFM that perhaps don't sit well with us. The latest structural change that was proposed did not proceed. So anyway, I guess at this point in time, you're not going to hear me on my soapbox saying we should not pay these dues and we shouldn't bother anymore, if that answers your question.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion is passed by a vote of 10-1, with Councillor Perry voting nay. Okay, next. The Regional Training Facility Project had an approved budget in the form of a grant of $235,000. The project has closed with $4,903 remaining from the initial budget. Then this is the training facility in the grounds of the Knoll Fire Department for the rural area. Nolan District Volunteer Fire Department intends to add a concrete pad to support containing and cleaning of materials during training. This concrete pad was not part of the project. Knoll Fire is requesting to utilize the remaining project funding, with their department contributing the remaining funding. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I move that Nolan District Volunteer Fire Department be able to access the $4,900 towards their concrete pad for their training center in the rural area.
Seconded by several people. So anyway, I'll go to the middle. Councillor Hebb, seconded by Councillor Hebb. Okay, on before the motion, Councillor Perry.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I'm in full support of the motion as presented. I just like confirmation that the fire department has in their funds the remaining amount to be covered.
I believe that is the understanding from the request that we had, that they were going to.
They don't have to fundraise for any of it. They
That
currently
I-
have the money and they're
That I
ready
do
to go
not
forward.
know. There are other funds in the reserve, I believe, but I'll let the CAO speak to that.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I don't know, they are planning on paying for it out of the Knoll District Fire budget. I'm not sure whether it's through their levy or through their fundraising dollars, but it's not being spread around amongst the departments that would benefit from that. There is, at March 31st, 2026, there's $14,600 in the reserve for the training facility. Council's putting $20,000 a year in. And then another 20 would go in for 2026, 2027, this fiscal year, so.
Because that's why I was asking. I know money goes in for that rural training facility every year. And I was just wondering if that would be a better place to maybe talk to them and see what they need and come back with an exact amount. I have no problem authorizing this, but I would, you know, I leave it up to the rural counselors because they know more about their fire departments.
So a couple of things, if I could, Madam Warden. The total project is $10,000.
Yes.
And the $20,000 that's put into that is for the maintenance and repairs of both the Knoll and the Elmsdale
Okay.
fire training centers.
So it'd be $5,100 that they would be short.
Right.
Which is, if there's 10,000 that goes to each facility, that would still leave them with another 4,900 remaining. If you look at, if that money goes in and you're saying you're splitting it between two facilities, it would not be impacting the amount of money. Because roughly you're basically saying you're allotting $10,000 for each facility a year.
That's not how it's intended. The intent is the $20,000 goes in, and whatever's needed for those two facilities can come out. So it's not 10 and 10, but it's,
I'm just thinking like, there'd still be over $15,000 left if Elmsdale came forward and needed anything.
Well, there would
there would
currently,
be,
But what I mean from
25,000
this year's
left.
allotment though, like not taking away, they're not taking the entire allotment. So
Right.
I was just wondering if, you know.
well, I
we're
believe
fu-
the CAO said there's a reserve of over 14,000 there.
there, well, right, if you add the 20 for this year, it's 34,000 in
Yeah.
the reserve. So if you funded the
So-
10,000, you'd still have 25,000 in your reserve.
I'm just, you know, I wish,
Well,
you know-
maybe could we deal with this motion on the floor to allow them to spend the 4,900 and change? And then if someone wants to make a motion to fund the rest of it out of the training reserve, we could have discussion on that.
just seeing if that makes the most sense or not. But anyways, thank you, Madam Warden.
Counselor Rhino.
Not to, after.
Oh, okay, well, I'll get you to put your light back on then. Okay, any further discussion to the motion on the floor, which is to use the remaining $4,903 from the initial project to go towards the cement pad? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously. Counselor Rhino.
Purposes, I will move that the remainder of that project cost be taken from the rural fire fund.
For the rural fire fund or from the training reserve?
Training, that's what I meant, the training.
Training reserve.
Training.
I'll second that for him.
Is there any discussion on the motion? That the remaining just under $5,100 would come from the reserve for the training? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously. That concludes correspondence for decision. Next, we will move to committee reports, and I will turn the chair over to the deputy warden because I see the nominating committee is
Okay,
first on the list.
Now we call for the warden with the nominating committee report, please.
The nominating committee met on May 19th, 2026 to finalize interviews to fill the public member vacancy resulting from a midterm resignation on the Police Advisory Committee as per the terms of reference. The current term ends April 2027 and members are eligible to reapply for the next three-year term commencing in May 2027. The nominating committee recommends to council that council appoints Hendrika Heidi Penning for a term ending April 30th, 2027 to the Police Advisory Committee. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Moved and seconded by Councilor Rhino. Do I have any questions on the motion? Seeing no questions, we call for the vote, please. And the vote has passed 11-4, 0 against. Now I'm going to pass the chair back to the warden, please.
Thank you. Next, we will go to the Police Advisory Committee report. Counselor Rhino.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Committee held its quarterly meeting at the executive meeting of May the 19th, 2026 in council chambers. The following motions are coming forward as a result. The RCMP quarterly report. Staff Sergeant Balamacida and Corporal Collier presented the staff report, East Hants District RCMP quarterly report, May 2026. A copy of the report was attached to the agenda and available to all committee members. Staff Sergeant Balamacida presented the anticipated provincial RCMP priorities and the three priorities for East Hants based on the discussion with council. From that, the Police Advisory Committee recommends to council that council approve the three objectives for the RCMP for the upcoming year be community engagement, drug enforcement, and road safety. Chair of the committee, I do so move.
Seconded by Counselor Merriam. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously.
Safer Communities Neighborhoods presentation. Mr. Sean Mason gave a presentation on the investigation investigation work that he does with the SCAN unit of the Department of Justice. The SCAN Act is a provincial act that allows citizens to confidentially report residential or commercial properties habitually used for illegal drug activity. It is designed to help authorities shut down problem locations like drug houses without needing criminal conviction. Madam Warden, this brings the conclusion of my report.
Thank you, Counselor. Next, we will go to the Corporate and Residential Services Committee report. Counselor Garden Cole.
The committee held regular meeting on May 19th, 2026 in council chambers. The following motions are coming forward as a result of that meeting. Item 1, Dr. J.T. Snow Bursary and Leadership Awards, presenter selection. Council awards a $2,500 Dr. James T. Snow Bursary annually to a recipient at each of the following schools: Hansi Stroll High School, Avon View High School, and Hants North Rural High School. Traditionally, a member of council attends the graduation ceremony to make the presentation on behalf of council. As well, a member of council is asked to present the leadership awards to recipients at the following schools: Hants North Rural High School, Riverside Education Center, and Uniac District School. The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends that council appoint the following presenters for the 2026 Dr. J.T. Snow Bursary Awards: Hants East Rural High, Councillor Mitchell; Avon View High School, Councillor Perry; Hants North Rural High School, Warden Rolston. The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends that council appoint the following presenters for the Leadership Awards: Hants North Rural High, Councillor Rhino or Warden Rolston; Riverside Educational Center, Councillor McPhee; Uniac District School, Councillor Perry. Item 2, CAO
No,
Authority.
we have to move this.
Oh, sorry.
You have to move the motion.
Pardon?
You have
I,
to make
I
it. Yeah.
so move.
Seconded by Counselor Musa. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously.
Item 2, CAO Authority Policy. A review of the CAO Authority Policy has been completed and amendments have been recommended. The amendments do not grant the CAO additional powers. They clarify the authority to take actions which occur in the management of the municipality. Recent changes made to the MGA via Bill 212 are reflected in these amendments for the purposes of clarifying the oversight relationship between council and the CAO. The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends that council adopt the amended CAO Authority Policy as presented and attached to the May 19th, 2026 Corporate and Residential Services Committee agenda.
Seconded by Counselor Mitchell. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Oh, the motion is passed by a vote of 10-1, with Counselor Rhino voting nay.
Item 3, December 31st, 2025 Actuarial Valuation Report Results. Results have been received for December 31st, 2025 Triannual Actuarial Review of the Defined Benefit Pension Plan. This full actuarial valuation review is required by legislation every 3 years. In April of 2023, Council approved upgrading the definition of average earnings for those employees who were retiring between January 1st, 2023 and September 30th, 2026 only. As these retirements occur, special payments to the pension plan may be required, and they are funded through the Pension Reserve Fund. A recommended continuation of this commitment to September 30th, 2029 is being made. The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends that the final December 31st, 2025 actuarial valuation be filed based on the results as outlined in the report to Corporate and Residential Services Committee dated May 13th, 2026. Results, Triannual Actuarial Review, December 31st, 2025. Continue on. That pension payments as required by legislation are approved for payment into the plan. That the definition of average earnings for service prior to January 1st, 2026 be upgraded to December 31st, 2025 earnings, with no pension being greater than the best 5 years' income of the employee for those employees who are retiring between May 1st, 2026 and September 30th, 2029 only, and that these special payments as they arise be funded through the Pension Reserve Fund. that the employer contribution rate be 6.85% for contributions on earnings after January 1st, 2026, and adjusted by future cost certificates, pension valuations, as legislation requires. That the actuary be asked to do the standard upgrade calculation as part of the December 2028 actuarial review. This calculation will upgrade the definition of average earnings to redefine average earnings to December 31st, 2028 earnings, with no pension being greater than the best 5 years' income of the employee, and the Plenus consultants be appointed as the actuary for the municipality of East Hants pension plan. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Mitchell. Counselor Merriam.
Great, thank you, Madam Warden. I just wanted to mention that I would have appreciated what I would call a deeper dive into the topic when the report was presented, just with more time analysis and options presented, and just to gain a better understanding of cost implications. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. The motion is passed by a vote of 10-1, with Counselor Merriam voting nay.
The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends to council that the 2028 actuarial review look at increasing employee pension contributions. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Mitchell. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously.
This concludes the report.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will go to the Planning Advisory Committee report. Counselor Mitchell.
The committee held its regular meeting on May 19, 2026 in council chambers. The following motions are coming forward as a result of this meeting. Number 1, Plan 26-008, LeGros and Williams lands mapping amendments to permit townhouses. The municipality received an application to change the land use designation and zone of 2 properties on Earls Court lands to permit a townhouse development. The mapping amendments will enable the development by site plan approval of approximately 24 townhouse dwelling units. The Planning Advisory Committee recommends that council authorize staff to schedule a public information meeting to consider an application from ZAP Construction Incorporated on behalf of Nicole LeGros and Natalie Williams to amend the MPS and IUB by changing the land designation of PIDs 453-32590 and 453-32608 to medium density residential neighborhood MR, and rezone the same land to townhouse R2T zone, and that notification of the public information meeting be sent to properties within 500 meters of the subject property. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Do we have a seconder? Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Counselor Merriam. Counselor Tingley.
Through the chair, just a couple of questions. The public information meeting, when is that likely to be held in relation to the report on the Barney Brook?
June 17th. Yeah, it's close there.
Sorry, John.
Through you, Warden, I don't think we have a date yet, but the intent was to make sure we had that information first from the report. Go ahead, Jesse.
Jesse.
Through Madam Warden, to update timing of a presentation on Barney's Brook, the report is being reviewed by staff this Friday and is scheduled to present our version along with posting the full report at June Executive on the 16th. So Scheduling wise, if we were in the morning and there was a public hearing in the afternoon, it would be in advance, but that's the conversation that's
This is
coming.
just for a public information meeting.
Correct. So that's the timeline for the Barney's Brook updates, so to keep in consideration.
So the Barney's Brook is gonna be on June the 16th, and the public information meeting could be,
I think we picked the 17th for extension day.
Through you, Madam Warden, no, it hasn't been scheduled yet, so it would be July at minimum.
I don't think it would be July. Or is it August that we don't need? It's August, okay.
that's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Counselor Merriam.
Thank you, Madam Warden. And I would just like to acknowledge under correspondence for information, a letter of concern that we did receive from some residents re the proposed development. And my only comment is assuming that this motion does go forward and there is a public information meeting, I would encourage all interested residents, both for or against, to show up. And for those that would like to go into detail about whatever their thoughts are, that's a wonderful opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Tingley.
Through the chair, I'm just gonna add one more comment. I'm gonna vote for this to go to a public information meeting, but I've heard that there's 2 or 3 reports on where our floodplains are located at these days, and not having this Barney's Brook report in advance caused me a lot of concern about this particular proposal, and I'm gonna have to get that cleared up in my mind after we get past the public information meeting.
Counselor Garden Cole. Oops, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Yes, I agree with Councillor Tingley. For me, I just feel like the timing is just unfortunate for them to be applying for this while we are still waiting for the results of the flooding study to come in. So for that reason, I won't be supporting this. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we will go to the vote. And the vote, this is just to send it to a public information meeting, folks. And the motion is passed by a vote of 9-2, with Councillor Rhino and Councillor Garden Cole voting nay. Councillor Mitchell, go ahead.
Item number 2, Plan 26-007, Barry Hill and Darren Lawrence, South Maitland, DA application for motocross track. Barry Hill and Darren Lawrence are requesting approval for a motocross track in South Maitland. The property is zoned rural use north, RU2 zone. In addition to the track, the applicant is also proposing to construct supporting structures such as a tower, bleachers, parking area, portable washrooms, and a temporary canteen. The house located on the subject property is to remain. The Planning Advisory Committee recommends the council give initial consideration to enter a development agreement for motocross use located on property identified as PID 451-04403, 1160 Highway 236 South Maitland, to enable a public hearing and authorize staff to schedule a public hearing. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Seconded by Councillor Rhino. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councillor McPhee.
Yes, thank you, Warden. I was just wondering, so under the rural use, this is an acceptable use, is it?
By development agreement. I
Just
believe.
by development, so we
Yes.
don't have to have a public information meeting to do that? It can go right to public hearing.
That is my understanding, yes. John?
Through you, Madam Warden, that's right, because it's not, you're not amending your MPS. There's not automatically a public information meeting. I mean, PAC could direct us to hold one, but it's not required by policy.
Right, and, so was there, other than something on our website, do we send letters to anyone to let this is kind of a.
Yes,
I can see this being,
Through you, Madam Warden, so there'll both be a questionnaire that we normally send to everybody within 300 meters, and then also same notification for a public hearing.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Warden.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion is passed unanimously.
Number 3, Plan 26-005, Sierra Vista Development Limited, Pine Hill Drive, redesignation and rezoning. The municipality received an application of FBM Architecture Limited on behalf of Sierra Vista Development Limited to redesignate 6 properties on Pine Hill Drive from established residential neighborhood ER to medium density residential MR, and rezone the same properties from 2 dwelling unit residential R2 to townhouse R2T. A motion to schedule a public information meeting on this application failed. No further motion is coming forward. If no further direction is given from council, the applicant will be informed that the application has been deemed refused.
So, there is no motion coming forward from this. Is there any further direction on this at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on.
Number 4, Plan 25-013, Arkham Developments Limited, redesignation and rezoning. An application had been received from Arkham Development Limited to amend the municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw for property on Dory Lane, Enfield. The applicant requested to change the land use designation to medium-density residential neighborhood MR and to rezone the same lands to the townhouse R2T zone. The purpose of the application is to enable a cluster townhouse development. There was discussion around the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works requirement that the upgraded Dory Lane currently being built will require a right-in, right-out intersection at Highway 2. A motion to recommend council give first reading to the proposed amendments failed. If no further direction is given to council, the applicant will be informed that the application has been deemed refused. The Planning Advisory Committee recommends that council direct staff to create a report for the plan review around the creation of new municipal roads and the way they intersect with pre-existing municipal or provincial roads. As chair of the committee, I so move.
So do we have a seconder? We'll come back. I have people waiting to speak, I know, but we have a motion that has been made about the creation of roads. Do I have a seconder to that motion? Seconded by Councillor Garden Cole. Councillor Musa and Councillor McPhee to this motion or to the subject prior to this motion? Okay. Anyone to the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously. Councillor Musa.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Like, about the application, I did not change my mind about my vote, but after thinking about it, I think a couple councilors have mentioned that they heard from the public, and I think a public information, like the public hearing, is an opportunity for the other councilor to hear from the public and from the applicant. So that's why I feel the need that I hear from the public and probably other councilors do the same. So I'm gonna move a motion that, I'm gonna do it now. Okay, I move that council give first reading and to to change the land use designation to medium-density residential neighborhood MR and to rezone the same land to the townhouse R2T zone
And to schedule a public,
and schedule a public hearing.
do we have a seconder? Seconded by Counselor McPhee. Counselor McPhee.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Warden. Yes, I had a motion on the same topic, so happy to support that. And that's, Counselor Musa summed up how I felt. I didn't want to say or insinuate before, I hope I didn't, that Planning Advisory Committee did anything wrong at executive, but I just meant that I was uneasy with it after I thought about it. I thought we should move on to a public hearing. And again, that gives everybody a chance to come here, express themselves to the entire council, allows the developer to have their say. I may not change my vote. I'm not saying that I'm supporting it now. I understand the traffic issues, but I just think it's fair that council hear everything that everybody has to say, whether it's a member of the public that are for or against, and to hear the developer. I just can't see why we wouldn't take the time to go ahead with the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Counselor Merriam.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I guess just to weigh in, I would side with other counselors who have said that they look at the, I'll call it a flow chart or process of decision-making as a process with decision points along the way, and not necessarily, in my opinion, a foregone conclusion that it's an A to Z process. And, different folks could have different opinions, but I think any at all material information or facts that come before either a committee of council or council itself are relevant and help myself, I'll just talk about myself, make decisions. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Rhino.
Well, I guess for me, I don't agree with what's been said, and, then if that's the case, why did we even bring this to PAC? Why don't we go to a public hearing first and then come back? And then, I think we followed due process. We did what PAC thought was best, and now we're being questioned on it. And here we are back with the motion that's in front of us. So, that's my thoughts.
Counselor Garden Cole.
Thank you, Madam Warden. So now I'm thinking, if the decision we made on Pine Hill, if they get wind of this and they send a letter, and maybe we'll reconsider that, and the other decisions that we make at this stage of the process, letters come in and it can start to be a thing. So that's a concerning precedent to be setting. Thank you.
Counselor Tingley.
Through the chair, my problem with this one here is the traffic situation down there. And we're just too little, too late as far as coming forward with what's going to happen. We didn't know that it was going to be a right turn in, right turn out. I know some people don't feel that that's an issue. Some people, they may not feel that flooding is an issue in a place, but it is an issue for the residents that live there. And there's nothing coming forward about the traffic other than what they've said so far, that it's going to be a right turn in and a right turn out. That's, from what I'm hearing, it's unacceptable to the community, just the same as flooding is unacceptable to other communities. And for that reason, I just can't support this. That's it.
Thank you. Counselor Musa.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I just want to weigh in about the Planning Advisory Committee. So if every thing coming out of that committee have to be approved the same way, we shouldn't be doing this at council. So that's why the recommendation come in, and I recall so many times we reversed we didn't vote for it and we vote against it. So that, I think the recommendation from committee is something that we should be looking at, but at other times we voted against it. I'm not gonna say I'm with the application, but I think we did that before, and it's not the precedent or anything, so I think that's a process how it goes. Like, the committee recommend and we go with it or without it. That's why we ratify it at council. Thank you.
Counselor Perry.
Thank you, Madam.
Oh, sorry,
Mine on.
sorry.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Councilor Musa took some of the words out of my mouth. The process, like, committee does not make decisions for this municipality. No committee does. We sit here on council night, and we make decisions based on information that we receive from committees, but it doesn't mean we always have to follow what every committee says. And, so there is no precedent being set, no matter which way a vote goes, because the only vote that matters is the vote on council night. Committee either recommends or doesn't recommend, and we have the ability as councilors, well after committee day, to review and reflect and get the information. Nobody's making a decision here of whether it's gonna be approved in the end or not. The question that has come to council now, based on this motion, is, do we want to approve it to go to a public hearing or not? It has nothing to do, we are not bypassing any process, we are actually following the process, because as a committee member, right, your decisions at committee are not final decisions. It's up to council to make those final decisions. And there have been many times that we have received things from committee that are in support of, and we have denied it. And there are times we receive things from the committee that the committee has not supported, and then we do. So it has nothing to do with setting a precedent. It has nothing to do with changing the process. This is the process. This is what our job is. And the number one thing is, we're not to be biased based on a committee report. We're to take that information and evaluate it ourselves. A committee decision is not a final decision on anything that happens in this council chambers. Thank you.
CAO.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I guess I had my button on to weigh in on the committee versus council. You as counselors sit on a committee of the whole for Planning Advisory Committee. When you get to this chair on a Wednesday night, it's no longer, we made this decision. Planning Advisory made the decision, but you as counselors make the final decision at council with your council hat on, not your Planning Advisory Committee hat on.
I believe we're aware of that.
Right, so, but it's not we as Planning Advisory Committee is different than we as council.
Counselor McPhee.
Thank you, Warden. Yes, and just to follow up on what Councilors Musa and Perry has said, some other councilors said, well, if we're not going to take the recommendation, then why have the Public Advisory Committee? Well, if we have to take the recommendation, then why bring it to council? As you say, you bring it to council to see then if council wants to go ahead with it. So I'm still saying that I want to go ahead with it. I'm not saying that I'm supporting the development. I just think we need to go ahead with it. I don't think we're honor bound or bound in any way to have to take the recommendation that PAC made. Thank you.
Counselor Garden Cole.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I think some councillors are confused. I just want to clarify something. I totally understand that we have a recommendation from our committees, be it agriculture, whatever committees, and whether that is ratified the next week or not, that's just how it goes. When I refer to a precedent, I'm talking about a developer or somebody not being happy with our decision, and then writing a letter about it, and then us looking at that and deciding whether we are going to change. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people sending in letters because they're not happy with our decision and us considering the letter. So it had nothing to do with the process of the committees and how we vote from one week to the next. Thank you.
Counselor Perry.
I don't understand that point, Madam Warden, because that is how the public communicates to us as residents when they don't like a decision. They write in and ask us for clarification or ask us to reconsider things. So why wouldn't a developer have the same right to do that?
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the counselor is intending to say that she feels it would set a precedent if a developer did not like the recommendation coming forward or not coming forward from PAC, that the developer would then weigh in and write directly to council prior to council having made any decision on the PAC recommendation, which is providing further information after the PAC meeting when the public members of PAC are not available to hear it. That's what is that the intent?
Well-
But I would say that that precedent already exists. We've had that with the Curling Association. We've had that with many other things that have come out of our committees. And we've received supplemental information after public committee day. So I don't there is no precedent to be set here today in anything.
That
because
is
the
a
stuff
point,
has already happened.
Counselor, on which you two counselors are free to disagree.
Was there any more supplemental information provided here for us?
No.
Thank you.
CAO.
Through you, Madam Warden. So just for point of process, I guess, if a developer reached out to me or if a resident reached out to me and asked how they get in front of council, I would tell them to write a letter to council if they don't like a decision that was made at a committee or if something didn't go forward. So if that's not, that has always been our process, because the council is the final decision-making body. If somebody doesn't like something that I do or if a committee does, my answer has to be, you need to write a letter to council. So I don't think that's out of line to give them that answer. If they have more information that they want to give council and to override a decision of either mine or one of my staff or the development officer or whoever, I would instruct them to go to council. So if that's not something this council wants me to do, then I should get some direction on that at a different point in time.
Okay, I think we're straying from the point of this discussion, and I do have people wishing to speak. The situation we're in is that PAC did not recommend going forward with this application. We've heard from the developer who wishes council to reconsider and not follow the recommendation of PAC. We've heard from numerous councils, some in support of upholding PAC's recommendation, some in support of proceeding to public hearing. That's the decision point that we're at here tonight, whether or not to go forward with public hearing. So I'm just going to try and keep the discussion to that point, whether we're going to go forward to public hearing or not, and try not to repeat the same things 100 times, folks. Thank you. Councillor Rhino.
I will try to keep it somewhere in that ballpark. I took the information at the executive. I took it and I studied it there at that meeting. And from what I heard, I made a decision that I don't feel that this application should go forth to a public hearing. I made that decision right now based on the information we had. I understand the process that if somebody's not happy, they can write in. I understand that process. Due process was probably followed. However, from what I'm hearing and I'm taking, a little bit of a problem with is I've heard comments that, it should go right to then make our minds up. Well, if that is the case, why did we go through what we went through in executive and heard all this information? Why wouldn't we proceed right to a public hearing and then come back and then go from there on that? This is the problem I'm having. I made my decision based on the information that was provided that day, and I felt that it did not warrant going further, and that's what I based my decision on. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tingley.
Through the chair, some of this I probably already said, but I think we all understand what the process is. But to me, I'm just here to make a vote tonight, and I don't see any hope of getting a better plan for the traffic down there than is presented so far. If there was no hope of getting some flood study reports prior to that other one we just voted on. I would have voted against going to the public information meeting on that. I'm going to vote against going on this one because there's nothing coming forward to help these people with their traffic concerns down there. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Okay, folks, let's wrap this up and have our vote, okay? Councillor Musa.
I just want to clarify that I made this motion after I heard from a couple councilors that they had more information than we do. And that's why I made this motion. I didn't make it because of the letter. I didn't make it because of anything. I'm entitled to hear from the resident of this area the same as other councilors. If you guys go with this motion or not, it doesn't matter to me. I just made it because I feel I have to hear from those people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Point of order, can we restate the motion before we vote?
Yes, there's no one left to speak. The motion is, and I'll paraphrase here, correct me folks if I'm wrong. The motion is to send this to send it to public hearing, to do first reading and send it to public hearing. Authorize a public hearing. That is contrary to the recommendation that PAC made, so everyone is clear. So a vote for this motion sends it further to public hearing. A vote against upholds the PAC recommendation and it would go no further. So is everybody clear on what you're voting on? We'll go to the vote. And the motion has failed by a vote of 6-5. With Councillor McPhee, Councillor Hebb, Councillor Musa, Councillor Perry, and Councillor Mitchell voting for, with myself, with Deputy Warden, Councillor Merriam, myself, Councillor Rhino, Councillor Garden-Cole, and Councillor Tingley voting nay. All right. Carry on, Councillor Mitchell.
Last item, land use bylaw amendment, townhouse development, parking. Changes to parking requirements were originally tied to the Arkham Developments application. As a result of that application not moving forward, PAC are recommending that the parking requirements be dealt with as a standalone project. The Planning Advisory Committee recommends that the council give first reading to amend the land use bylaw by changing parking requirements for townhouse developments by requiring 2, and any common parking areas for townhouse development shall provide 2 spaces per unit and 1 dedicated visitor parking space for each 7 townhouse units. And authorize staff to schedule a public hearing. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second that.
Seconded by the Deputy Warden. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion is passed by a vote of 10-1, with Councillor Perry voting nay.
This concludes the report.
Thank you, Councillor. We will now move to the Infrastructure and Operations Committee report. Councillor Perry.
Thank you, Madam Warden. The committee held its regular meeting on May 19th, 2026 in council chambers. The following motions are coming forward as a result of that meeting. Crosswalk, Riverside Educational Center, Milford. The Director of Infrastructure and Operations provided a history of requests for a crosswalk at the intersection of Riverside Drive and Highway 2, Milford, dating back to 2010. If a crossing guard program were to be implemented, there would be an upfront cost of approximately $90,000 to install the crosswalk and accessibility features. Current benchmarks have the hourly wage projected between $18 and $18.50 an hour for a crossing guard. The time may vary between 10 to 20 hours per week per crossing. If school is canceled for any reason, the crossing guard is still paid for that day. An annual cost would be in the range of $16,000 per crossing per year. The Infrastructure and Operations Committee recommends that council direct staff to correspond with the province asking for a reconsideration of a flagging program or flashing lights within school zones. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Seconded by Councillor Rhino. Councillor Merriam.
Thank you, Madam Warden. And I just wanted to make a couple of comments. So While ultimately my motion for the crosswalk at Riverside Education Center was not successful, I do want to reiterate what I believe is council's commitment on children's safety in school zones throughout the entire municipality, which, of course, is extremely important. And I think my take on the new motion is looking essentially for provincial guidance on alternative safety measures in school zones. And, a comment might be that we do know, however, that the province does seem to require crossing guards in school zones. So given that is their current policy, I'm not really sure how far we'll get with that, but, again, I just wanted to make those comments. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Someone forgot to vote, folks. Motion is passed unanimously.
The Infrastructure Operations Committee recommends the council give notice of intent to repeal the municipal crossing guard policy and procedures for out of the crosswalk policy.
Are you making the motion?
Oh, as chair of the committee, I so move, sorry.
Seconded by Councillor Hebb. Any discussion on the motion? Councillor Merriam.
Yes, thank you. I guess just to follow up on this point, and this is through you, Madam Warden, a question for staff. Any sense on, so my take on this is the old one is dated and needs a bit of a refresh. Any sense on timing of what next steps on future crosswalk policy could look like? Thank you.
I'm not seeing anyone lighting up their lights. Jesse.
Through Madam Warden, first step will be getting feedback from the province. That'll happen fairly promptly. There's already there's already an opportunity to schedule in a meeting with provincial staff to seek guidance on and a few other topics. I would anticipate later this fiscal, so that there can be some decisions potentially for the following year, if that were the wish or will of council.
Thank you. I was just curious. Appreciate it.
Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously.
The Infrastructure Operations Committee recommends the council direct staff to contact our MLAs to gauge interest in meeting with council to discuss issues of mutual interest. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Seconded by Councillor McPhee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously.
This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, we'll go to the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee report. Councillor Rhino.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Committee held its regular meeting on May the 19th, 2026, council chambers. The following motions are coming forward as a result of that meeting. Lloyd E. Matheson Center parking lot. With increased services on site at the Lloyd E. Matheson Center, there are increased parking pressures. The Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture provided 2 parking lot concepts for consideration. So from that, the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee recommends the council approve the addition of Capital Project 26-038 Lloyd E. Matheson Center Overflow Parking Lot Project to construct an additional parking lot between the Lloyd E. Matheson Center Complex and Highway 214, with a total budget of $385,000 plus HST, funded from the General Contingency Reserve. As chair of the committee, I do so move.
Seconded by Councillor Mitchell. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we will go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously.
District Recreation Fund, second intake. The second District Recreation Fund intake closed on April 30th. There were 4 grant applications received with requests totaling $24,628. The applications were reviewed by staff grant review committee and evaluated against council policy. All 4 applications meet the policy criteria and have been included in this report. Council may wish to approve funding from multiple districts where projects benefit facilities and users of facilities that service a larger area of the municipality. So from that, the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee recommends that council approve District Recreation Funding 2026-2027 intake number 2 in the following amounts. Minersville Community Center, District 5, $11,172. Do we want to do these separately or do them all at one, I guess? All in one? Hants North Recreation Development Association from District 5, $5,250. District 11, $2,250. Gore Area Funds, $1,000 for a total of $8,500. Enfield, Elmsdale, District Lions. From District 1, $2,000. From District 2, $2,000. District 10, if needed after that funding, $4,000 for a total of $8,000. Rod and Gold Mines Community Hall, District 11, $5,700 for a total funding allotment of $33,372. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Seconded by Councillor Musa. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Somebody has, motion is passed unanimously.
Madam Warden, this concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we require a ratification motion around the Community Services Dropbox license at the Lloyd E. Matheson Center. Who's taking this one? Okay. CAO?
So Madam Chair, not sure why it says as chair of the committee, I so move.
Well, someone will have to move it after you do
Yeah. Basically, this is the sort of ratification of that motion that was given to us in camera direction to ratify the lease or to renew the lease. So the motion is there to
Okay.
finalize that.
Councillor Perry.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I will move that council authorize the CAO to enter into up to a 2-year lease agreement with a 2-year renewal term with the province for the Department of Community Services secure document Dropbox located in the Lloyd E. Matheson Center lobby.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously. So that concludes the committee reports. Next would be the warden's report, so I will turn the chair over to the deputy
Okay,
warden.
Madam Warden, go ahead with your report, please.
Thank you. Well, it has certainly been a busy month since we last met as council. On April the 23rd, I did attend the East Hants Historical Society meeting in Rod and Gold Mines. A very interesting presentation about the history of the gold mining district and the gold mining in the area. On April 24th, the rest of council and some staff, I attended another successful volunteer recognition night in the Rawdon District Fire Hall. It was a lovely meal, and it was certainly an enjoyable evening, and very proud to recognize so many volunteers that were honored. From April the 29th to May 1st, I attended the NSFM Spring Conference in Yarmouth. There were many interesting topics there. One that springs, I guess, maybe foremost to my mind at this moment is the discussion about drought and how we were feeling pretty comfortable because we had a lot of snow this winter and we've had a lot of rain this spring. But the EMO folks told us we should not be feeling comfortable because 25% of the province is already undergoing drought conditions and there were 40-some% of it is extremely dry. So I found that concerning, to say the least, because we are aware that the province has given notice that they're not going to be doing the bottled water program anymore. So we don't know what lies ahead with regard to drought or what might be needed or expected from council. So I don't know. We can't read the tea leaves or look into the crystal ball, but I guess I will put a question forward to staff. Is there some kind of a motion that would be needed to have staff perhaps begin to form some broad strokes of a plan on what we would do should that need come up again this year?
Okay, we're gonna ask the CAO to come in on this. Go ahead.
Through you, Madam, Sir.
There you go.
Deputy Warden. I assume you're talking specifically about the bottled water program?
Well,
Or
yes,
about-
because we traditionally, in those times, we do open the pool for showers and sometimes potable water and that. But the bottled water program was accessible to the entire municipality, so.
Through you, Madam Warden. So there's the question of drought, and to Department of Emergency Management of the province, their stance on drought is that it is no longer an emergency. So if you've had drought for 7 years running, you're no longer in an emergent situation. So that's why they've terminated their bottled water program. I guess I would say the same for the municipal mandate around drought has not been established. As a council, you know, there are certain things that you can do to support your residents, but drought is a much bigger topic than any one council can tackle. I think you're probably going to be looking to your Department of Environment folks, look for provincial programs to support folks. You have your well and septic program, so if somebody's well needs to be redone or livened up, you do have a program that they can access funding for that if they need to. Beyond that, we don't have a budget for a bottled water program in East Hants. I know it did support some folks last year, but a lot of the feedback too was, well, we can go get bottled water. What we really need is water in the ground, and council can't do that. So I guess if this council wants us to look at a bottled water program, you would have to look to, you know, where the budget would come from, how we would coordinate that, because we did rely on the provincial coordination efforts of that program in prior years. And I'm not sure we've done it in more than just one. I think last year might have been the first time we've participated in that program. So we've got 1 year. For the rest of the years, we have not participated in it. So I guess we would need some pretty strong direction from council about how far you want to dive into this, because it's not something that's on your agenda. It's not on our radar. I mean, we can take direction from council on what you want us to do with it, but we would need to talk about where it fits in your strategic priorities as far as, you know, what resources we have to manage that kind of commitment to a topic as big as drought. Does that answer your question?
Okay, we have a couple
Sort
of,
I do have some further comments, but I see other councillors are wanting to weigh in, so I'll.
Councillor Perry, please.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. I'm just thinking this might fit one of the topics to talk about with our MLAs. As a previous motion, we invited them here to talk about things of mutual interest, and I believe that drought conditions for the residents is of mutual interest, and I think it would fit well in a conversation with them regarding the programs and what is available and what's not available.
Okay, Councillor, you removed yourself? Okay, back to the warden, please.
And I do understand that, but I also know that The worst month for drought last year was August. We don't meet in August. So to make a decision on the fly to do something or not do something would be very difficult. And I do remember when we made the decision to partake in the distribution of the bottled water last year, I do remember making the comment that we had not done this in the past, but as soon as we do it, we are creating an expectation from the public that we will assist them in this way. And I did on a number of occasions when the bottled water was being given out in my community. I did attend and speak with some of the residents, and you know, it certainly wasn't going to let them have showers or water their gardens or anything like that, but there were people there who were extremely grateful to get that bottled water for drinking water and cooking purposes. So it is, I guess, it is concerning. I certainly have no problem discussing it with the MLAs should they make themselves available. But I guess in the meantime, I'm going to make a motion that staff be directed to create a broad report outlining possible sources of funding should council determine the need to assist with bottled water in drought conditions this summer. Not saying we're going to do it, I'm just asking for a report to say, how could we pay for it if we
Do
do.
we have a seconder? Okay. Motion with the seconder. One person like to speak. Sounds like good.
No, you hit the wrong one, you took them off.
Turn the light back on, Eli.
No?
You're welcome to speak. Seeing no one else to speak, we'll call for the vote, please. Vote is in, 10-4, 1 against. Eli Musa voting against. Okay, continue.
Okay, thank you. Well, that got us through NSFM. I won't enter into discussions on any of the other presentations at this time, but it was a good conference. And the power went off again. That's 2 years running, I think. On May the 3rd, I attended a dessert and tea party at the Rawdon Gold Mines Hall, sponsored by the United Church. On May the 6th, I attended the plan review meeting in Rawdon Gold Mines. On May the 9th, I ventured into Councillor Rhino's territory to attend Dab Annan's 95th birthday party. May the 12th, I attended the plan review in Maitland, meeting in Maitland, and May the 13th in Walton. I had hoped to get to all 6 of the meetings, but I made it to half of them, so. On May the 14th, I participated in the FAM tour around the municipality. On May the 16th, I attended a plant sale put on by the local garden club. May the 17th, I attended a breakfast at the Stanley Fly-In. May the 18th, I was honored to present Nancy Doan with a 90th birthday certificate in honor of her 90th birthday. And in between, at a couple of different dates, I attended some fundraising dime auctions, both for the Hants North Jays and the Rawdon District Home and School. And that, I think, I may have missed something, but that's what I have jotted down. Thank you, folks.
Don't think you missed too much. Back to you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now go to business from councilors, and I'm going to start where? I don't remember once again. Councilor Rhino, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Warden. April 24th, I presented a 90th birthday certificate to Ms. Kay Dinsmore of Maitland, who was very appreciative. On May the 6th, I attended the visioning meeting in Rawdon. And on May the 9th, I presented Mr. Albert Annan of Maitland a 95th birthday certificate. He was very appreciative. And on the 12th, I attended the visioning meeting in Maitland. And on the 13th, I did the same in Walton. And on May 22nd, this past Friday, I attended Nova Scotia Police Governance Association meeting with a presentation from Justice with regard to the new committee format of talking about for police recommendations. And I also, on the 26th, just last evening, I attended the Vision meeting in Enfield. So that's been my month. And I would like to also bring up, and I've been talking to the director on this, the speed monitors in both Knoll and Maitland. I'm getting a lot of complaints about them with regard to them not showing speed all the time, and I understand there's a ghost mode in that, and I understand also the director tells me that they have to be so long in ghost mode and so long operable. To me, and a lot of the residents were into tourism season, ghost mode is not really cutting it. We're tourism season, and the heavy truck traffic that runs down through to the different sod fields and down farms along the shore. We really need those flashing lights units operable at all times. And I'm wondering if staff can go back and have some kind of discussion with them that this needs to be, in the heavy period times, this needs to be operable all the time, because it's to see just a flashing, blinking light, it's not going to do anything. But when you have your speed flashed out in front of you, it has more an effect on drivers to slow down. So I'm wondering if staff could go back and ask that, or if I need a motion to do that. I'd like to hear staff's response.
Jesse?
Through Madam Warden, excellent question. So on the topic of the DSDS and I'm not sure if they're on currently, flashing lights. The signal wasn't working right after I'd last talked to you, Councilor Rhino. We can remote change the settings. I'd asked one of the staff members or team members to do that. The signal wasn't working at the time, and I've got a follow-up meeting on the status of how that was going to work out tomorrow morning. It's booked for in the morning tomorrow for the check-in. Our alternative was to send a truck up to do it in the field. Of course, we had a truck breakdown on Friday, which would have helped us visually confirm things. But that said, there is a meeting to check in tomorrow with internal staff, and on DSDS, staff have already booked a meeting next week on Wednesday with Public Works staff to talk all things DSDS, and that will be part of that conversation.
So through you to the director, that will be the ask of having that on ghost mode, or off ghost mode, and on flashing all of the speed zone more actively throughout the summer and into the fall, because ghost mode, like I said, it's just not cutting it, and I'm getting a lot of concerns about the speed in the area.
Yep, through Madam Warden, confirmed. It's I've got 5 agenda items for that meeting. That's one of them, and I've got the notes on ghost mode for the season versus not.
And also, could you asked about the other end of, let's say, the 215, well, before entering Maitland? I understand that they had once said that they were trying to gauge their drop down in speed zones along there, but how can you gauge anything if you don't have a radar there or some kind of thing to tell you how fast and if that is working? Because that's what I'm also getting. How come one isn't at the other end? And I'm trying to explain to them that that's on the province on that one. So I'm wondering if that could be a part of your conversation as well.
Through Madam Warden, absolutely. The team has actually maps of specific locations already printed it off. There's a new area manager, and we're wanted to take early days opportunity to set a good impression, make it easy for decisions. And those location pieces that are outstanding, we're going to put them all in front of them next week and say, this is where the discussion was, this is where we want to go. and looking to proceed.
I'll look forward to the results of your conversation. Thank you. That's it, Madam Warden.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Councillor Garden Cole.
Thank you, Madam Warden. From District 1, well, I'll start with me attending the Volunteer Recognition Awards, which was a great evening for all the volunteers, and also well done by our municipal staff, as always. I attended the annual general meeting of CCOA, which for anyone who's listening is the Corridor Community Options for Adults at their new location. They are planning a grand opening and recognition of the municipality along with other levels of government will be included in that, and we will be contacted. I attended plan review meetings in Rawdon, Mount Uniacke, Maitland, and Enfield. I intended to go to the Milford one, but was under the weather that evening. I was very interested in hearing what the residents wanted to see for the futures of their communities from the residents themselves, so it was very informative. Last evening, I've had questions before, but last evening in particular, I had numerous people come to me, and a couple of them were wondering about the elevator shaft on the new building on the old Claude White property. Now, I'm just wondering through you to staff, I think this topic had come up about things that we can review going forward. But that type of elevator shaft, obviously, we have elevators in other apartment buildings that do something differently. Like, what is it about that makes that come up so high? What have they done differently? I don't know that I've ever, I'm sure there's some around like that, I'm not familiar with them elsewhere.
Through you, Madam Warden, off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I agree it is taller than some of the other ones we see. If you're interested, I can check with the building official and find out what system they have that makes it different.
And I'm just wondering where we would address that maybe going forward, like in what, context, what venue?
So, well, we're already, through the plan review, going to look at height limits and how we measure height. Right now, all those things are just automatically excluded, so I think that's the discussion we would get into. Do you exclude them for everything, or do you set a height limit within that beyond the height limit, or do you include them in the height limit? So I think there's definitely a discussion there.
Okay, so then we will, that in particular is what I'm looking to include, if we can just make a note of that. Just, that maybe they could use an alternate, what seems to be the norm for other apartment buildings versus the one that they've chosen for that particular one, just from an aesthetics point of view. Also, I meant to forward an email to councillors and some staff from a resident on Alderney Drive regarding the speed on Alderney Drive. And it's frustrating for the residents, as you will read, because Alderney Drive is the provincial portion of that subdivision, or one of the provincial portions. So they are seeing speed measures being taken on the municipal parts of the subdivision, albeit three-way stops or speed humps, but Alderney Drive isn't getting any of that. So I'm just wondering, I said that I would bring it to this meeting for discussion or for suggestion on how we might mitigate speed on Alderney, or is it a letter to the Department of Transportation, or what would staff's recommendation be on that? And this is speed as it exists right now, not with any increases in speed down the road. Any factors that might increase speed or traffic on Alderney.
Through you, Madam Warden, one of the options could be request staff can share that information with the RCMP, who can temporarily make a presence in the area at certain times of concern. That's one avenue. The officers have talked about increasing collaboration and are open to doing so when time permits. That's one avenue is police presence where it's not a municipal road. There is awareness campaigns we've done or offered yard signs in the past. It varies on interest. There's still some available as an option, and then there is advocacy to the province on potentially gaining interest for the province to install speed humps. However, I don't know if that'll be successful or get traction, to be honest. So I don't know. Those are some of the criteria. A real out of the box idea would be to officially inquire to the province on the potential of revisiting the right in, right out on the Dory development and transition the right in, right out to Alderney as something for them to technically consider, because a right in, right out would intuitively slow people down into Alderney.
Well, I don't know if it would, how do you see it slowing people down? It might may move the traffic over to Dory, but I don't know how it's gonna.
Correct. It forces a turn. So I apologize on protocol. Through Madam Warden, the protocol or the change in traffic would be slowing people down where they would want to create more turns into that Dory subdivision, which slows people down halfway through down the line, as well as creating a visual deterrent as you approach if you're going right out of the subdivision. It gives you two new cues or new factors along Alderney versus it just being a straight stretch and there's only one exit. There's now a choice halfway, so people would be intuitively having to slow down to make a choice to go and turn left onto the 2 down through the Dory lane. It's out of the box. We'd have to explore it and do modeling. It just came to mind once you brought up the question.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess there's nothing to make a definitive motion on here, it sounds like to me.
I would suggest, having briefly looked at the correspondence attached to the email, they're looking for urgent traffic calming ASAP type of thing. I believe it's a provincial road.
It is.
I believe we should forward that correspondence to the MLA's office and to Public Works.
So, and they were actually copied. Numerous levels were copied on that.
And I would certainly, and I assume you probably have already had some correspondence or conversation with them, but ensure that they understand that we don't have the ability to do traffic calming.
And part of that is saying that, they have reached out previously and they get, well, you know what, it's not our road and end of story. And actually, if I can just add, last night, as I moved around the tables periodically, I was hearing a lot of people who do find it frustrating that part of their subdivision is municipal, part is provincial. They're seeing an improvement in maintenance in one section of it and really wishing that there was a way to get it more uniform, whether it be, service, agreements or that kind of thing. But it does seem to be a prevalent concern with residents. Okay, I'm going to leave that for now. Thank you. That's it from District 1. Thank you.
All right. Next up, Councillor Mitchell, and you've got 11 minutes before it's 9 o'clock. Councillor Mitchell.
So I'll conclude the evening at 11 minutes. Thank you, Madam Warden. April the 28th, I attended the Colchester East Anson Library Board meeting in Truro. On April 29th to May 1st, I attended the NSFM in Yarmouth, and I took the opportunity to talk to the membership about the volunteer firefighters at Ground Search and Rescue, trying to improve the benefits for them. Even though they get certain benefits, they don't get it for a whole year, then they apply for the following year on their tax returns if they meet the criteria. On May 4th, I attended the budget presentation by the CAO and the warden. On May 6th, I volunteered for McHappy Days to raise money for Ronald McDonald House at the Elmstone McDonald's. On May 7th and 8th, I spoke to the grade 4 or 5 grades in Enfield about Uncle Willie. Some of us doing the research on him. Talked with myself, and I was also talked a little bit about municipal government and what they might hear at their home. On May 11th, I attend the planning review in Milford. On May 14th, I enjoyed the familiarization tour with fellow councilors for the rural area of Mount Uniacke. On May 15th, I attended the breakfast with MP Cody Blois at the Aquatic Center. And last evening, I attended the planning review in Enfield. A great turnout, and as Councillor Garden-Cole says, a great discussion. Looking forward to the full planning review as it comes forward. And that's all, Madam Warden.
Thank you. Councillor Hebb.
Thank you, Warden. I've attended the volunteer awards banquet along with other councillors. Also attended the familiarization tour of the rural part of the municipality. Met with quite a few residents on different topics, covering a wide range of topics, I have to say. And also, I'd just like to make note that I believe it's this Saturday, June 6th, there is a open house at the Waste Management Center. And it's open to the public, anybody, and I strongly suggest anybody that has an interest, go out and take a look and see what's going on out there. And also, there's a breakfast at East Gore Community Hall, Sunday morning. I always bring it up because I'm a fan favorite of their food. That's it, Warden, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McPhee.
Thank you, Warden. Yeah, I'll just try to speed along here. The hockey game starts soon. We hit 2 heyday meetings. Things are moving along great. There's going to be typical thing, games, bouncy castles and everything for the kids. Fireworks later in the evening after entertainment. Of course, the parade's still on. There's fun runs for adults and for children in the morning. And the children's parade, the car show is a go. And an extra we have this year, we just found out Monday nights are going to be a hot air balloon later in the afternoon and be giving free rides. So that should be very popular, I would expect. I assume it's a tethered type of a hot air balloon, not one where we don't want people drifting off down the river. Yes, I attended the planning vision meeting in Milford. I hope to get to a couple others. That's the only one I got to, but it was a good turnout and great to hear people's suggestions, what they were interested in. Active transport for one was a lot of people brought up. A few days ago or evenings ago, there was myself and a few others, we were looking at the parking lot development in Shubenacadie, and Keith Julian asked me if anyone had thought about interpretive panels referencing the CN station, its importance to the community as a whole there, especially as we know where the troops left to serve in World War I, World War II, and also was the arrival and departure point for many of the students that attended the residential school. Keith's going to approach his band about this, seeing if they have any interest in that or their thoughts on it. And I just wondering, Alana, if you could, I know we've mentioned interpretive panels before, somewhere, if you have any info.
Thank you, through the warden. We do have the Shubenacadie River Park interpretive signage project. That was in continuation of the revitalization of that park from a few years ago, but also throughout various discussions last fall with the Cenotaph relocation and council's decision to put it back to its original location. That was something that was suggested in one of those reports. Council didn't go with that option because they opted to put it back in its original location. So part of the approved capital project for the River Park signage, one of the critical success factors really is collaboration with stakeholders, which that would be Sibhaganagady, that would be the band. Staff have every intention of discussing certain pieces of that with them. So, I mean, if council wished to explore something separate to that, then certainly a motion could be brought forward, but we have every intention of collaborating with the band on that project. We don't have an exact idea what the signage will say, but there's a lot of history in Shuby, whether it's the former residential school site, the river itself, and the train station. Those could all be components of that interpretive signage, and again, we would collaborate with our neighbors in Spaganagity.
Great, thank you very much. To continue on is, when I asked Staff Sergeant Balmaceda, sorry, I know that's wrong, about the fatality on Trunk 2 on the 26th of April, I believe it was. It again brought up something that different people have mentioned to me, and I've mentioned it at Police Advisory Committee, the speed of traffic leaving Shubenacadie, the village heading south. Just to give you an oversight of it, there's a passing lane that starts within the 50 kilometer zone lane, air zone, and it starts about Havenwood Drive, takes about 200 meters, several driveways before that, so people are already passing while we're still in a 50 going quite a speed. And then that goes on for about 200 meters, and then it turns back to a solid line. And then it's about 200 meters more, you get to Densmore Road. So my thoughts are, I would like to see that we could get rid of that passing zone. It's quite a problem in the morning especially. Seems to be a lot of people say getting out of Havenwood Drive or one of those, it's dangerous. You do come over a little crest and around a curve there. People are already actually passing before they get to the passing zone. So I see Jesse has his light on, possibly he could give us some.
Through Madam Warden, staff would suggest a motion to write Public Works requesting a review of the passing lane along that stretch of Highway 2 in Shubenacadie as it relates to the transition of the 50 kilometers and linking it back to the most recent fatality. That it's a concern for public safety. It would be a similar motion where we had requested a review for the speed in around Mount Uniacke and Highway 1 around the school. It'd be under the same guides. I'd lean on the wording and review that. But if you could make a motion related to that on Highway 2 in the 50 zone related to passing lanes, staff would proceed with an official letter and request an official review.
Okay, thank you. I will move then that council direct staff to write to NSPW asking them to consider changing or reviewing the passing lane in the 50 speed zone, transitioning into the 80 speed zone, and just
Highway 2 and
and
Shubenacadie.
Highway 2 and Shubenacadie southbound. That's fine. Thank you.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Motion is passed unanimously.
Thank you, everyone. And further to that, Jesse, would you be able to, same as Councillor Rhino mentioned, the speed signs? I know that was one of the areas we were looking at putting one, also Mill Village Road. Any action on that or planned action on that?
Through Madam Warden, that is one of the maps that's already printed off ready for that review next week.
Oh, okay, thank you. Very good. Yes, just a few more things. I attended the public presentation on the budget, small numbers at the meeting, but there were some good questions and comments. It was very informative. I thought the CAO and the warden did an excellent job. Attended the volunteer awards night, as usual, it was a great group of volunteers. It was well done, and I'd just like to say it was an excellent meal, and if you could pass on my regards on that to the volunteers. And one final thing, and I'm the chair of the Municipal Joint Roads Committee, and unfortunately, the only day that all the other members could attend an all-day meeting, we're trying to do most of the work in this one day, is the 16th of June, which is executive meeting day. So I'm asking that council give me permission to miss the executive meeting that day to attend the roads meeting. Don't know, do we need a motion for that?
I don't know if we would need a motion or not. It's a very important meeting, and I think we're well served to have yourself on that committee. Does anyone in council have any objection to Councillor McPhee attending that meeting? I see none, so I think
Great.
you have the permission of council to do that.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, and that's everything for me.
Thank you. Okay, Deputy Warden Dixon.
Thank you, Warden. Just to be brief here, I also enjoyed the trip around the East Hants area through Uniac and Rawdon and the Fundy Shore. I found it quite interesting. A lot of the places, just 700 square miles in this municipality, and there's a lot of things for people to go and see, especially with times that are tough. Concern in our area is boat launching on the Grand Lake. It came up last night in several of the reports, so I'm hoping that it'll come out in the major report later on, that maybe it's something we can look at to accommodate the residents of the area. I attended the review board meeting last night, the vision meeting last night in Enfield, and it's like I've spoken here a couple times tonight. Traffic seemed to be the number one issue, so that's been well addressed. Played hockey Monday night, nice parking job, and the paving job in the sports flag was very impressive, and it's bigger, so thank you. Attended the Rawdon volunteer night for everybody, and I served and got served, so I thank you, everybody. Thank you for the staff that served me. And I myself will probably be out of the country on June the 16th, and I'm going to try to, if there's no major objection, to join in somehow. I'll be in the Philippines. I'm not sure how the communication is going to be, but that'll be my attempt. I'm hoping to get the okay, same as my previous counselor, to be missing for a day. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Merriam.
Great, thank you, Madam Warden, and just bring forth a report from District 6 North Lance Milford. Really echoing what all of my colleagues have said. I guess I was forgetting, this is a really busy time of year, lots of extracurricular meetings and events on the go, and I just want to take the opportunity to thank our residents for the Milford meeting, very well attended. I made a lot of invitations, and a lot of people took me up on that, so it was a really good show. And also, it's been very busy helping residents with various questions and issues that are coming up, and appreciative of staff for their ongoing support as well. Let's talk biosolids. For something completely different, I'm going to bring forward an issue, an alleged biosolid, I guess, last week in Milford. And I did have a resident complaint about that, and I do have to say it was one of the worst ones I've ever experienced. Now, we all appreciate the good work of our farming community, no question, but this is a question, Madam Warden, through you to Jesse, and really the question is there any municipal oversight or legislation on biosolids and fertilizing, fields in general, and what is a resident to do?
Well, before I go to Jesse, I can tell you that I have discovered that biosolids are not regulated. They are considered the same as fertilizer by the province. Jesse.
Through Madam Warden. So from a direct service of the municipality on oversight, the only topic where it comes up in municipal operations is in the solid waste division as it relates to the composting of organic material, whether it's able or approved to be blended in with biosolids with green card or not. Whereas East Hants doesn't process our own organic material. In East Hants, we contract that out. There isn't a purview or a policy where we're managing that. That said, is we specifically check to make sure that biosolids are not used in compost that we use for compost giveaway, because our residents that may use that may use it for food for human consumption, which is a blend that you don't go through. That's part of biosolid management. For public looking to inquire about rules or regulations on biosolids, or if they had concerns that something was being put into the environment that was non-compliant, that would probably be the investigation. The department that I believe would investigate it is the Department of it would be Nova Scotia Environment and Climate Change, and specifically their compliance division, which is their division of inspection, compliance, and enforcement. It's that enforcement piece. And so, poor acronym based on current challenges in the world, but the direct email is ice@novascotia.ca. The head office that covers the Hants area, or East Hants, and we're grouped in with HRM. It is the Bedford office. It's in Bedford Commons area. If you're familiar with that area, we're near the tennis facility, if you will. They do have a direct phone number. It's 902-424-7773, and they could direct you into that compliance zone. That would be inland environmental. If the concern was with potential biosolids getting to the river and it causing issue with aquatic life, that would be Department of Fisheries and Oceans enforcement, which would be through federal government. And those would be the two different avenues I would direct folks to make their inquiries. I know
If it's that it's horrendous smelling and cuts right to your throat when you try to breathe, I can tell you from experience, you're out of luck.
Yeah, that's that, and through Madam Warden, it's from a municipal staff, we can direct folks in the right direction. We can help try and navigate. It's pretty darn hard to find that contact. I was searching the provincial website's challenging to try and figure that out. So we'd help anyone navigate that.
Would there be any way we could address that under our community standards bylaw?
Through Madam Moore, I'm going to look for support on that.
Through you, Madam Warden, no, and mostly I think because anytime you're putting an amendment onto agricultural land, we can't. That's an agricultural practice. We can't touch it. So there's, in addition to the stuff Jesse pointed out, there's also the Nova Scotia Agricultural Practices Board that, if you think a farmer's doing something that's not a normal farming practice, that there's a noise, smell, whatever, a resident can go and launch a complaint through that organization as well. And they're based out of Truro, the Department
If you
of
can
Agriculture.
find them.
Yes, they don't have a website, but they do exist, and that's the purpose of the organization. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Great responses. Appreciate that. I'll carry it back. And for any residents of Northlands Milford listening, feel free, as always, to check in. Always accessible. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Perry.
Thank you, Madam Warden, for ease of time. I'm not gonna go over where I was. I'm gonna go over what's coming up and highlights of the community. So first of all, June 4th is the annual Spring Fair at the Uniacke District School. Spring Fair and auction. They're doing an auction this year, raising funds for the home and school and a new playground. They have a new thermometer, I guess you can call it, to track the donations towards their goal. Their goal is $90,000. It currently sits at $37,725, with $22,500 coming from the municipality already as part of the DRF funds that they requested. On June 20th, the Uniacke Volunteer Fire Department Annual Fair will take place. The parade kicking off at 11 o'clock. The fairgrounds open at noon. There will be an ox pull in the afternoon, and at dusk, instead of fireworks, because of the last number of years, due to fire restrictions, they weren't allowed to have fireworks. They've actually got a drone show in place for this year. So at nighttime, there will be a drone show. The following Saturday night will be the Uniac Volunteer Firefighter Fair Dance for those 19 and over. It's going to be headlined by John Sear, Nova Scotia singer. Country Roots is his kind of moniker. Tickets are available at the fire hall for all those who are interested. I'd also like to give a shout out to the group that took part in the exit ramp cleanup. They picked up 36 bags of garbage, 11 tires, 2 microwaves, tons of recyclables, lots of car parts, and a big jug of urine. So I'd like to say thank you to Margaret Turret for organizing the event. For those who
I'm not
participated.
gonna ask. Hallie knows that's what it was.
For Beth Ouellette, Reginald Borden, Mandy Miller, Brittany Baker, Clayton Baker, Irene Hansen, Hillary Tompkins, Garth Demont, Laura Middleton, and anybody else that I do not have their names of. Thank you for taking part and doing your best to make our community a better place. Also, I want to say currently happening in Calgary right now is nationals for club volleyball. Many residents of East Hants from Mount Uniacke and all over are currently traveled to Calgary for these. The games are ongoing as we speak, and there's already been reports of some big wins for little Nova Scotia teams over some big Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia teams. So it's good there. I'd also like to congratulate Empire Cheer out of Windsor. They have many residents from Mount Uniacke, the Rawdon area, and everything else. They went down to Worlds in Orlando, and they got perfect 0 golden scores, if I'm saying that correct. I'm not really know the cheer lingo, which allowed them to place 4th in their category, which was the top Canadian team in that division. So it was a great result by those hardworking girls and boys that take part in that event. Lastly, one of the things I'd requested a while ago to get more community flags made, and I needed a high quality scanned photo of the flag from the one that's here at the Lodi Matheson Center. I still haven't got that yet to be sent out to be produced. So I'm wondering if I could get that photo, or if staff could get that photo done and sent out to have flags created, and the costs come from the beautification fund for District 8. Is that possible?
Yeah, we'll touch base with you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And that's it for District 8. Hopefully everybody has a safe graduation season.
Councillor Musa.
I'm not gonna repeat whatever Councillor Perry said. We'll be here till 11. So I want to thank staff for the beautiful volunteer award, and as usual. And I attended the planning meeting in Mount Uniacke, and I was surprised by how nicely it was done. And I think staff did a really good job. Like it's just like class at school or something. Like everybody was engaged, and at the end was very informative. And being a counselor was very, very nice until last few months. And I have a question for the CAO about, like, I've been accused of using my power to get some stuff done here with the municipality, and everybody knows that we don't have any power. We can't even talk to staff about that. And one of the comment all over Facebook was they want to know which property councilor owns and which property they have interest in, and have an inside information. So I don't know how that's gonna affect my being a member in the planning review. So I would like to ask the CAO for some, if council allow me to, is that question for my legal or the legal for the municipality? We can ask, so.
I would suggest, I would suggest that if you're thinking of a legal issue around anything, I would suggest that you ask offline, like not in a public forum.
Oh, okay.
If it's legal issues, should,
Like, just ask about like, what put us in conflict, like, it's nothing,
well,
something
I
that,
don't think any counselor is in conflict over the plan review because I think we all own property in East Hants that are going to be affected by the plan reviews, so. But that's certainly something that could be discussed with the director and the CAO, and if they felt necessary, they could get legal advice from our legal counsel.
yes, that's what I'm asking, if I need if I need the motion from staff, or I could ask
I
CAO.
would just speak with staff.
Okay. And that's it for now, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Counselor Tingley.
Chair, I should be able to get us out of here by about 10, I'd say. Yeah, I'm not going to go. I had some things I was going to report on, but I was basically attended a lot of the similar functions that other council attended, so I'm not going to repeat that. I want to make a motion here tonight, and I've talked about it with staff to get a recommended motion to see if we could do something about this. Smack in the center of our community is the roundabout, and it's not maintained very well. The grass is high, and the connector's always full of rubbish type of thing. It's very unsightly, and there's probably other areas in the corridor area that are the same. And according to Fire Smart program, it could be the roundabout could arguably be a fire risk as well. Like the grass is about a foot tall there, and it's dry. They leave it there all summer. It should be cleaned up every so often, so it's not that high. I've discussed with staff to make a motion, so I'm going to move that council direct staff to bring back a report outlining service level options related to litter, grass, mowing, and other beautification related items in the service urban area rate boundary as part of the 2027-28 budget discussions.
Seconded by Counselor McPhee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Somebody hasn't voted. Motion is passed by a vote of 10-1, with Counselor Hebb voting nay.
Like I said, I could talk about all the other things that the other council did, but I was kidding about getting out of here by 10 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Counselor. That concludes business from counselors. Oh, sorry, Counselor Perry, didn't notice. Go ahead.
Sorry, Warden, there's one thing I forgot. When I said congratulations and be safe during graduation season, this is university graduation season. We have a lot of East Hants residents graduating university, taking the next step in their lives. I want to wish them all the best and a safe return home, and all the best to their families in celebration. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have an in-camera session scheduled to discover a land issue, so I would be looking for a motion to move in camera.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion is carried. We will give staff time to clear the room. Right, counselors, I would report that we met in camera to discuss a land issue. Staff was given direction. There are no motions coming forward from those discussions. I would be looking for a motion to adjourn, I guess. Moved and seconded. I guess I can just declare us adjourned anyway, but all those in favor? Aye. Meeting is